Hey guys, it's Bobby Legs, and welcome to a Sunday night stream. Perhaps a new series called On the Couch Watch Moves, where we try to help each other get through this crazy thing called watch collecting and all the craziness that goes in with the decision making, the second guessing, the playing the scenarios over and over ahead. I know I do it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people on this chat do. And so before we get into Penny's story here, let's go around the horn and make the introductions. And when I introduce you guys, just let me know what you're wearing and say a little something. Say how your weekend was. I don't know. Penny, you're first. How you doing tonight? And what are you wearing on wrist?
Well, I'm wearing the watch in question that we're going to talk about today, so it's not really a surprise anymore. It's the Speedmaster trilogy, the 60th anniversary.
Sweet.
And yeah, my weekend is getting better and better. I'm starting to calm down the madness with this topic, but I'm still glad to strategize with you all and just kind of talk it out because my wife doesn't want to hear it anymore. So thank you for doing this.
Hey, I've been there with my wife too, so we can all sympathize. Yeah, yeah. Joe, as you take a sip of your wine, how are you doing? And what do you have on wrist tonight?
Good. I've got the little blue jelly from Colin.
Oh yeah.
And wearing this not only because it's really easy to wear, but also celebrating my little victory today or this weekend, keeping another special watch within the group, so to speak, because someone else in this group is doing something silly.
Oh, so this is actually really happening. Okay, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
I thought this was all talk, but wow, okay. All right.
Yeah, offloading one of his watches to get some whatever,
Well,
Rolex, yeah.
It's the right choice.
If that person is comfortable talking about it,
we can talk about it. If there's time, let's see. I don't want to.
Okay. Yeah, well, there always will be time for this, right. So we'll make time at the end.
Yeah, good.
Colin, how you doing, my man? And what do you got on your wrist?
I'm wearing my Timex Snoopy in Space today.
Let me get you on a solo layout here. Yeah,
love it.
Very cool.
I saw your Instagram picture, or was it Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah.
Where you hit the button.
It's one of those. Yeah, I don't know if it'll work, but you can kind of see it.
Yeah, I don't know if the connection is kind of freezed up there, Colin. So.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
No, it's all right, man. Yeah, no, we can hear you now. Yeah, no worries.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those watches I wear like twice a year.
Gotcha. Amin, how you doing, sir? And,
Good. Let me see if this works.
All right,
try to get focused.
All right, let me go. There it is. Yep.
Oh, nice.
Still wearing it.
Very nice. Very nice. Fun watch. And finally, Sir Cornwallis Beaumont Esquire.
Guys, I thought we were going to do characters today.
I know. We all bailed on Marcus.
I love the shirt and tie. No, Marcus, I love the shirt and tie. That's great.
Oh,
smart dress.
I feel like an a-hole.
We all private chatted and said, let's just let Marcus go ahead without us.
That's great.
All right.
We didn't really do that.
No, we didn't do that. But.
I've got the mojo today.
Awesome.
Now I'm mad.
No. Rob, you bailed.
I did bail.
It could have been a great stream. You guys bailed.
I promise I'll make it up to you guys.
I'm still gonna call you Phil.
Okay. Hey Peter, how you doing? Marcus obviously coming in there first, way before everybody. Not Cornwallis. Blue shirt. Joe B. Chris over at the Watch On. How you doing? Guys, let us know what you're wearing on wrist too. 6 Killer 2121. Nick J, I want to know what the 6 Killer 2121 story is one day. I don't know if I don't know. Scott, what's going on, buddy? How are you? Jody, what's going on? And Daniel, how you doing there? Rashawn, also in the house. All right. So, I'm wearing my Black Bay 58. I was actually toying with the idea, trying to find a leather strap for it online. I really like the Tudor strap that it comes with. The option to get. It's like a chocolatey brown. So I was trying to. That was my little side project all day, trying to see if I can find one. No luck yet, but I think I'll find one. So, Penny, you emailed me last week. It
Yes.
sounded desperate. It sounded like I need to talk to you guys. I'm going through something right now.
It was a cry for help.
It was a cry for.
It
So
was a
so
cry
we
for
have
help.
so we have the figurative couch here. Please lay down and let
Okay.
us help you. And
Thank
I'll pull
you.
up the PowerPoint that you graciously provided today.
Yeah,
So
this
please.
is great. I mean, this is like I don't know if it's group therapy or if it's like having 5 therapists at once, plus everybody else watching. So this is great. I know I'm in good company because I know I'm not alone in stressing out about this kind of thing. So what happened? I'm just going to start from the beginning. I blame all of you, and it's so great that you're here because now you can share the accountability, for these moves and what happened. You all had a Black Friday stream, and you were Amin was trying to get a watch, and I think ended up buying headphones or something audio related. And I was like, what? There's no watch. And then you were shopping and talking about sales, and there was a lot of conversation about it. Listen, I thought it didn't apply to me because I was not planning on buying a watch, and I didn't think there would be any good sales. I was like, Black Friday, I just buy the watches that I want when I want them. I'm not going to do it just because it's Black Friday. But the conversation got under my skin or something. It just got me browsing and thinking and dreaming a little. And so I started looking around to see, are there any good sales? And I think you guys had also talked about Crown and Caliber recently. So this is where that kind of, I looked at a lot of sites, but Crown and Caliber had I think it was $300 off on the Black Friday weekend. And then on Cyber Monday, it went up to $400 off.
I know, yeah.
It was like $600. And then you all had also talked about trade-ins. So this is where, even though I have the keeper's mentality, and I said on your YouTube channel, Bobby, I will not sell my watches. I love them all. They're my children.
We have it. You have it videotaped. You have it saved. You can go back.
It bothers me to sell watches, but I started telling myself, if of the 5 watches that I had, the IWC was the last one that I got. I hadn't really bonded with it enough. And I was like, if anything is flippable in my collection, it's the IWC. But I also figured Crown and Caliber, or I didn't think anyone would offer me good value on it, because you hear that you're never going to get good value on certain watches, right? Certain brands. And I thought, well, I'll just put it out there and I'll see what they offer for this watch as a trade-in or whatever. I know it's going to be insulting, so forget it. I'm going to keep my watch. But it turns out their offer was really good. It was exactly what I paid for the watch, because I got it at 30% off because, I guess you can get IWC from an AD, for 30% off. It was a sweet deal. And the trade-in amount was even a little more. It was like $100 more than I paid for the watch.
Wow.
So I thought, dude, this is cool. Maybe I'm not going to get gypped if I flip the IWC. So then I started looking at that $300 discount, because this was like Saturday night. So I'm looking at that $300 discount. I'm talking to my wife. She's like, I thought it's so much trauma for you to sell a watch. What are you doing? And I was like, no. This one makes sense. This actually makes sense. I can do it. So yeah, I started looking, and Bobby, I actually emailed you. I tried to get you in on this.
I was going to wait to mention, you were, I could tell that you were into it so much. You actually emailed me and said, look, you can get this Submariner, $300 off. Do it. Go for it.
I saw, because I was looking at Rolexes. I know I like Rolexes. I know I like Speedmasters. There are a few watches we talked about I want next. But then I saw these subs, and I was like, oh, I really want a sub, but I don't know if I want a 5-digit sub, but Bobby should get a 5-digit sub. Yeah. So, I emailed you. I was like, look at this great deal. It's transitional sub with the discount. It's actually not bad. Yeah. So, anyhow, that got me looking. I browsed around their Omegas. I saw they had the Trilogy Speedmaster, which is one of the Speedmasters I've wanted for a long time. So I said, look, straight up, I'm going to end up adding a little money to this, definitely, but I'm getting good value for the IWC if I get what I paid for. So I went through the process of getting the quote. I'd already had the quote on the IWC, found that Speedmaster, which was the cheapest Speedmaster Trilogy just for sale, period, right? It was the cheapest one out there, and I liked that. The only thing wrong with it is it has a little scratch on one of the lugs, but it was a full box in papers. Came with all the goodies that Omega watches come with, extra straps and all this stuff. So I was like, this is it. This is my flipping moment. I like posted on Instagram. It's a done deal. Did the agreement form for the Crown and Caliber, all of that, bought the watch. Oh, and then it flipped over like Sunday night. I think when I made the purchase, like an hour later, they came out with $400 off. So I emailed them right away and was like, I just bought this watch for $300 off. Can I get the $400 off? Because this, sucks. Anyway, I'm getting the $400 off, and it was the cheapest trilogy out there. And I was getting the right price for the IWC. So it's a no-brainer, right? That this should have been Flipper's Paradise. And I was so proud. I was like, wait till I tell my friends on YouTube that I was able to do this and flip this watch and get a trilogy watch, a Trilogy Speedmaster, which, I love the Speedy. So the Trilogy is one of the few that I've wanted. So that was it. I had to, it's a little bit of a process to get the labels and send it off. And then I was waiting for the Trilogy to come in, and they sent it right away. It came a few days later. I still had the IWC when the Speedmaster came in. And then this is where the trauma starts to intensify, because I get the Speedy Trilogy and it's like instant buyer's remorse. Because I've never seen this watch in person. I've only seen it in pictures. The pictures are gorgeous that everybody takes of it. I've seen videos, but it's not one of those watches you can ever find in the store because it's discontinued. And you just have to get really lucky for someone to be, a pre-owned shop to be selling that particular Speedmaster out of all the Speedmasters. No one has that in store. So I haven't seen it in person. I just assumed I would like it because it's the original design of the Speed, of the 1957 design, the CK2915. It's the bedrock of the watch that I love the most, the Moon watch. So I get this watch in the mail, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, this thing is kind of ugly. And it's not ugly, but the bracelet is definitely annoying and ugly to me. I don't love that style, and it doesn't look like my beloved Speedy, and it's smaller. I knew it was smaller, but I was wearing the IWC because I said I'm going to have one last hurrah with it. And even though I'm sending it off, let me wear it for a few days. So that's a much bigger watch than the Trilogy Speedmaster. So I took the IWC off, put the Trilogy Speedy on, and then I was like, this is terrible. The IWC was so beautiful. It's so crisp and clean and legible. And, why am I selling that watch for this watch? So that's, I think I emailed you before that happened, Bobby, because I was proud of myself for being able to flip, but I still wanted to talk it out. But by this point, I'm at the low end of the curve of just like, oh no, I don't want to sell my IWC, and I have this other watch, and I don't even like it, and I took the red sticker off. Crown and Caliber tells you don't take the sticker off. It's like all this stuff tells you, do not remove if you're gonna return this watch, because they do have a nice return policy. But they don't want you messing with the watch. I even got it sized. I took it to a local, watchmaker who I love to chat with, and he has all of these 321 Speedies. So I went and talked with him, and he sized it for me. So I sized it. I took the sticker off, but I still wasn't loving it. And I still had I had the box of the IWC on the table with all the stuff ready to go. My wife is ready to ship it out, and I wouldn't give her the watch. I wouldn't give her the IWC. I was like, no, I can't sell it. It's perfect. And I'm still ambivalent about the Speedy. So guys, here's where we are now, is that I have both watches. I have the IWC.
Oh man.
It's sitting right here. And, I can't let it go. It's so cool. I love the sunburst blue, the La Petite Prince. I think if I sell this watch, I'm gonna start stocking other IWCs like the Spitfire, which I also like. And I may never get 30% off of IWC. Who knows? But I definitely didn't dislike this watch. And I remember something that Amin said maybe on one of the streams, that at this point, you're not really buying watches you don't like. You like the watches that you have. And when you let them go, it's because you want something more. You want something else at that moment. But it's not like, oh, I hate this watch, I'm selling it. You're not really making those, mistakes at this point in the game. You probably like what you have and you just want to move on. And I don't really want to move on. I do still like what I have. So yeah, and then meanwhile, this trilogy Speedy started to grow on me. Of course, it was like,
Well, that's good. That part's good.
2 days of wearing it, it's like, oh wait, I do it. It doesn't, that's one of the hard things, is only seeing something in pictures and in video. You can't stress enough that it's better to see it in person, but it didn't look enough like the pictures. It doesn't, not to me. It's like the shade of the dial is like gray. It doesn't really look like it. The patina is weird. It's too light. It's like a custardy patina, and I kind of think it should be rustier looking, a little bit darker. So it's got the fa patina, which I knew it had, but it doesn't really look great to me. But it's growing on me, and it was a good deal. Of all the Speedies that are out there, it's one of the ones that was on my list, and I'm starting to like it. I think it takes a while for me to bond with the watch. Like usually about a week of wearing it will start to sink in, and it hasn't been a week yet because I got this midweek. Meanwhile, the IWC is like taunting me, like I'm beautiful. You're looking at others and trying to flip this one for no reason other than opportunity, presented itself. That's sort of
Penny,
the mind.
You're
Okay.
screwed. You're screwed. Sorry.
Okay, so I was gonna say, let's jump in. All right, Colin.
No, I don't know what to do.
So I
gotta
think
think about
you
it.
basically you got an extra watch, right?
Yeah,
That's what I'm hearing, is that you love the IWC.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You're finding that you do really like the new Speedy that you got. Those, I could be wrong here. These guys probably all know more than I do about Speedies, but it seems to me I've been just keep hearing that Speedies of all stripes are getting harder to get, harder to find, prices going up. So maybe you got in when the getting was good, and now you've got a very understanding and supportive wife who understands that you kind of got yourself into an extra watch here, and the IWC gets to stay.
Yeah.
Well, I even tried to get her into it. I said, "Oh, look, they've got this Tudor ETA. She wants the red rose, Tudor." I'm like, "Oh, they got a good price on the ETA Tudor. Why don't we get you that and flip the IWC for that? And I'll send the Speedy back, and then we'll just do a straight exchange for that." She's like, "Don't involve me in this. I'll get the red rose."
Well, yeah, but
she wants nothing to do with trading the IWC in for another watch. She will not even discuss it anymore. And so,
you and your wife have an arrangement, right? So it's like from our stream, you explained that you guys alternate every year, right? Or something like that, like who gets a watch, right? Or so this is like some sort of pickle that you got yourself into, and then she's like, she doesn't want to be involved in this.
She doesn't want any part of it.
This is a pretty sweet move, honestly.
We alternate. It wasn't my time to buy a new watch because
It sounds like a loophole.
Loophole.
Yeah, it is a loophole.
You created a loophole. It's a good move.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is so the other complication was just that the reason it's not good to keep both, which honestly I've already decided, yes, I'm keeping both. I think that I'm just gonna lose my shit if I sell the IWC. I'm probably gonna buy another one for more money later. Like, the rebuy, I've been known to do it. Like, that's why I decided I'm a keeper. I have the keeper's mentality. I will like the watches that I have, for better or for worse. That's going to happen. And the collection can get really big that way. And, you might end up with stuff you don't like. But luckily, I think so far I like the stuff that I have. But what we were supposed to do is we're on the list for the Speedmaster Snoopy, So there, you know, we're first on the list for that. That who knows when that's coming out?
But
honestly,
whose buy does that count against? Is it hers or yours?
it's hers, Marcus. That is the brilliant question. Yeah, it's her. It's her buy. So, and she loves Speedies as well, and she wants that one. I like it too, but it's counting for her, not for me. So yes, that's still safe. That's safe no matter what. Like we can get that. But what I was supposed to get next is a Submariner. So, you know, I wasn't supposed to get a Speedy. I was supposed to get a Submariner because I'm on the list for Kermit, which again may or may not happen next year. I don't know when. But if for me to put the hardcore press on that, I really was saving. And then I spent the money on the trilogy and kept the IWC. So what it does is it pushes a Submariner, you know, back for me. Sometime in the future.
When the sub comes, you sell either the IWC or the Speedy.
Yeah.
You guys are telling me that? See, this is where your experience comes to play. Your ability to flip and sell. That if I got the call, that's what I did for the Batman. Is I surprisingly got the call, and it was painful to sell. Sold the Milgauss. Didn't love that I did that, and you know, now I'm happy with the Batman, the Milgauss. It haunts me a little.
If you can, and you want to keep them all, keep them all. But if it were me, I would punt it down the road, and I would make the decision when I need to.
When it happens,
cross that bridge philosophy.
It's just like the NFL salary cap. Just keep kicking the can down the road and renegotiating contracts.
The only word of caution about this loophole business is that so
It's always a party pooper.
Is that so I've done this now a lot of times where I say to my wife, like, I'm gonna buy this watch and then I'm gonna sell watches to balance that.
Yeah.
And each time I do it, I don't sell nearly enough watches to balance that. You know, maybe I sell like a little something, but it doesn't balance it. And then she doesn't really seem to care. So then I'm like, oh, that's fine. So then I access that loophole repeatedly. Yeah. So
I do the same though. I usually up until these last couple watches, I usually buy the new watch first.
Yeah.
Then I see which one does not get the wrist time, and then that one leaves.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the thing, guys. I'm not selling in any of these watches. That's what we have to know about me is that you're making perfectly good sense. You're giving advice and strategizing here.
You learned something good about yourself here. Is that when you do this, you're likely to keep what you got, right? Yeah. You have sold the Milgauss, so it's not like you're totally impossible to sell a watch.
True.
Right?
True, I have. Yeah. So I'm probably going to buy a Milgauss. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. I've let that one go because it was the Faraday cage was too heavy for my wrist. So I can let that one go. But I did like it. But
so you have two Speedies then? You have two Speedies.
I do. I have the Moonwatch and the Trilogy now. Okay. My wife has a Speedy too, so we technically have three.
And you want to add the Snoopy.
And we want to add the Snoopy. And I have more plans for more Speedmasters. So I think a tiny little, every time I buy a watch, a tiny little voice in my head tell me what I appreciate about, the Moonwatch is starting to become clear and what I could like here in the broad arrow hands and the original design. So, it might be a muse in the collection to some extent that a few other Speedmaster pieces, which I kind of have an idea of what they might be, could be in the mix. But I have a cap of 10 watches. That's the other thing is like, I'm already at 6. So.
Oh, you got plenty of time.
I can't, when I hit the other 4, that's it. I don't want 30 watches. It will drive me absolutely nuts.
I love the trilogy, honestly. I love the hands. Yeah. It's much like my Planet Ocean hands. I love those big arrow hands. I think I've never had a trilogy, but I think it's a beautiful watch. And, but of course it's totally up to you once it's on your wrist.
Yeah.
So when you started to change about your feelings towards the new the trilogy, was it when you took the bracelet off and put it on the NATO?
Yes. Goodness gracious, that bracelet. I don't know why I don't like that bracelet, but I don't like it. It's shiny
Looks great
on the outside.
on the
I
NATO.
think
Yeah.
yeah, it's got some weird shine pattern. I think it's the outer links are shiny.
So can we take a couple chat points here?
Absolutely.
So Chris from the Watch Lounge saying, if you love it, keep it for sure. Blue Shirt Buddha, definitely need to keep both. Then let's see here. Scott's Odyssey is asking, Penny, how many IWCs have you owned? I like the look of them. There's several watches ahead on my list.
Yeah, just this one. And I had intended to get a Spitfire, but I saw the La Petite Prince on the bracelet. And I just thought, man, this really does shine on the bracelet, and I like the blue. So just one, and I love it. It's a great watch. It's comfortable. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I have no problems with the IWC. I mean, I know people tend to complain about the price, but I got 30% off, so I feel good. I mean,
30 points is really
fine.
good.
That's
Yeah.
excellent.
I mean, their bracelets are beautiful too. I love
Yeah.
their bracelets. You don't think you could get 30 again? Because that's
I
a good
might.
trade if you can
I'm
actually.
persuasive. It depends on when you go and what
You could always
their
buy
business
it
is like.
back. Trade
Yeah.
it, send it to Crown and Caliber, and then if you miss it, you buy it back. That's one option, but
Well, I think that one of the reasons I have the keeper's mentality is because I attach to these watches. When I wear them and I have these long rotations of like a week or a month on the wrist where I just wear that one watch, it really starts to sink in for me. But the other reason I think I'm so obsessive that if I allow myself the back and forth and the strategizing, I'm afraid for me, it'll be never ending. It'll be just like, that is my game plan. That is what I'm spending a lot of creative energy and juices on. And it's fun to an extent, but it reaches a point where it's not fun. It's like, no. I want to stop this. I have to like do other things in my life. So for me, I think if I open that door and it is like, okay, sell the IWC and then get it back and then do this, there's an infinite number of moves, guys. And that stresses me out. There's an infinite number of possibilities of if I can trade this for this or these two pieces for that, you can constantly strategize. And some people love that. And I think I reach a tipping point pretty quickly with it.
Well, let me bring up then your last slide here.
The final plan.
So this is we're talking about all these moves, but this is the plan that you have drawn out for yourself.
Yes.
And you want to know if you can stick with it.
Yes.
Ultraman sweet.
This is what I want.
I think you can stick with it because you've got a built-in circuit breaker. The Hulk will take. The Kermit will take a while. The Snoopy will take a while. Getting a Daytona at retail will take a while. So this is not something that these are readily available. And I think the reason why we get into these flipping issues is because they are readily available at a certain price, and we just jump on. But if you've got a plan in place, and these are watches that are going to take years, that's already it's basically like doing a bespoke commission job. You're limited by the time. You're I don't think there's going to be a lot of sort of idle speculation in your brain. If you do sell it, because you've got a plan already, and these watches are not going to come in fast, unless you're Bear Clooney, I guess.
No, they're not. They're not.
They're not even coming in fast for him.
Yeah.
I think thank you for saying that. Like, I think that I realized yesterday maybe, that I went out of order. If my next watch was supposed to be a Submariner and I was really going to push for that and see if I could get that in 2021, okay, it doesn't happen. It'll happen some other time. But it's okay because I may have gone out of order, but the desires are still there. The blueprint can still be in place. It's not really changing things. It just changes the order of acquisition, which I don't have a lot of control over. As you're saying, I am not getting a Daytona anytime soon. Every time I talk to my AD about it, he says it's not impossible. So that I take as encouragement.
That's something. Yeah, that's something.
But I said, hey, when I get a promotion in 2 to 3 years, I would love to celebrate with the Daytona. And he said, it's not impossible. So I take that as, hey, I'm putting it on my list.
That sounds better than my AD.
It may, but it may not, but it may or may not happen at that point. But hopefully it will. And there's not going to be any impulse buys in that list, except for maybe another Speedmaster. But there's a cap on the number of Speedmasters I can bring in because I still have those other watches that I want. There's 3 other slots that are not going to go to a Speedy.
Jeff has an important question here. He loves the collection, but where's the G-Shock?
You guys are growing on me with this G-Shock thing.
They don't
So
count anyway.
I mean, I don't. There's a few watches that I don't count, like my Seiko, my SKXs, and my Hamilton. I saw a beautiful rainbow Daytona. What was it? A Casio, the rainbow one that I on Instagram.
Painted.
I added a min, and I said, "Hey, maybe this is your G-Shock," because I'm shopping for other people yet again.
Is that the one with the painted indices and all that?
Yep.
Okay.
I found the G-Shock
I thought that
for me
was cool.
today.
You did. What's
I
the
did.
G-Shock?
I don't know what it's called. It's a Gravity Master.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
red
yeah,
and
yeah.
orange. It's a big beast.
Yeah.
It looks crazy looking.
It's big, Amin. I mean, I enjoyed
carbon
it, but
fiber.
I like the Mud Master a little bit better, the proportions. But
I feel like if I want my G-Shock to be crazy looking.
that's a
You
good
guys are
choice.
nuts. I found my G-Shock years ago, the DW5600. That's my
Yeah.
G-Shock.
There you go.
I have one of those too.
I tried that.
Yeah.
You know,
I wasn't
speaking
feeling
of the
it.
one that, sorry, speaking of the one that Penny just mentioned, that colorful IFL watches, Katio was just chatting with Mark Mayer like 2 minutes before the stream started, trying to like push him to buy, like influence him to buy a second watch this weekend. And he did look it up and he was like, oh, it's sold out. So he was kind of on board until he found out it was sold out.
I'm gonna paint it myself, man.
I love how this conversation devolved into G-Shocks so quickly. That's pretty
I may get a G-Shock. I like the red one, the red square. I think.
Cornwallis is not impressed.
Cornwallis is not happy.
Yeah. Penny, you get to have a whole second watch box that doesn't count. It's not just G-Shocks and Hamiltons and your SKX. There's a box 2 doesn't count. So just that's the rule.
Well, that's my wife's box because I try to encourage her to buy other watches that I like, just so that they won't count against my total.
But you each get a box 2. You each get a box 1.
Oh, we each get an extra box. Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's the key. You don't want her to get too into watches because then she'll start making like actually adding to her box. Like you want to use her box as your side box.
She's got stuff. She's
also probably watching, guys.
Yeah. I don't know if she's watching tonight. She may be watching, but she's making her own moves, but she doesn't want anything to do. She doesn't obsess about it. She picks a watch, she buys it, it's done. Kidding. She loves it. You know, she's not like me gonna think about was this the right move for, a week or so. She's just in it and moves forward.
Yeah.
And she doesn't mind selling it either. She doesn't do that really, but it doesn't bother her to sell a watch.
So how do you feel about keeping both?
Oh, I think I'm there now. I mean, if I'm completely honest with myself, I mean, even though the IWC still got the box on the table, it's still got the label, I'm like, you know what, Crown and Caliber, I'm not going to send them this watch. I got so far to get the labels, but I haven't sent it. I'm not going to send them this watch. It's a good offer that they were,
I think you can't send the Speedmaster back. That's a special watch. Yeah, I agree with the bracelet. It's like those bracelets look so good in pictures, but like if you look at the rest of the series, right, with the Railmaster and the Seamaster 1957s, like when you get them on wrist, they just feel weird. I think it's the shape of the clasp. Like they have that proprietary clasp and all that. It just feels weird on the wrist, but they look so good in pictures, right? So
they look amazing in pictures.
Yeah.
And something is up with that bracelet. I just can't stand it. Yeah. So, but unfortunately, it looks great on NATOs. It looks great on leather. It came with leather straps, a leather strap and stuff. So I'll have fun, changing it out. It's not as versatile as the Moonwatch because it's got this gray, chocolatey, different, and the fake patina. So the dial doesn't go with everything the way the black and white dial does, but it's still, enough of a strap monster that you can play around with it. I think I'm going to keep it because I think I will regret returning the trilogy. Given that I'm so obsessed with the Speedies, I think there are going to be more Speedies down the road on my wife's collection and in my collection. So I got to have the 57. It's like, that's the origin point as much as you can get with a Speedy. Why wouldn't you want to have that if you're into Speedies? So it's starting to click for me.
I think you can just sort of chalk it up as like, that's the broad arrow reference in your collection. Like I think you have to have you might not like the broad arrow more than the original Speedy, but I think you have to have a broad arrow reference, some sort of broad arrow.
Yeah, especially if you're going to have 4 or 5 Speedies.
Right. Yeah. And typically the newer speedies, I like the first Omega in Space, which apparently they also discontinued. But they ran that for a long time. There are a lot of those out there.
Yeah,
And
those are lousy on the ground.
yeah. So I like that's the 1962. So you'd have 57, 62, and then 69 on. And the newer, whatever they do with the new Speedy, I don't think I'm going to be that interested in that because it's not going to be different enough, I think.
No.
Yeah.
So so that's where I am. I mean, I realized I'm out of order in my own roadmap. I'm still a keeper, still have the keeper's mentality. I thought I could flip, guys. So much influence from this group right here with your Black Friday seductions and your talk of trades. And I'm not
You're
gonna blame you.
welcome.
I'm gonna vicariously live through you guys because you can do it. You're able to make those moves that make sense for you and your collection. And I can watch from the sidelines and cheer you on. And I will send you watches. I will totally say, here's another watch you might want, which probably means I want it. Just know if you get a message from me, you're like, hey, Penny, I know you want this watch. And you can call me out on it. But I can enjoy vicariously now through other people because I feel like I have to have learned my lesson that, no, I can't lie to myself. I'm not going to sell a watch for a watch.
So what I could tell you is that, about a year and a half ago, I didn't think of myself as a flipper. I thought of myself as a collector if I bought a watch, I bought it with purpose and it wasn't going to leave the collection. And then I started selling watches to get other watches, and I can never go back. I don't think I can never go back to like not selling watches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why is that? What is it about the selling part? Do you just like the variety and you like to be able to change?
So I think the ability to bring in watches into the collection at a quicker clip is what is appealing to me, because I know I can sell a couple watches to get those watches and vice whatever and whatever else that means. So I think that's what it is, and it doesn't help me that I have a channel, right? I got to bring in watches to review, and most of the time I don't. I trade with other people. I'm not trade, but just exchange, like, lend out watches and back and forth. But sometimes I have to bring in watches. Sometimes I want to bring in watches. I want to buy watches, and I have to sell some. So I do a lot of flipping with the channel watches. I do a little flipping with my personal collection, but I'm always going to do that now.
Yeah. What about other folks? Like, do you even think of it? Is it even flipping if you've had a watch for 6 months, a year or so? I don't even know if that's flipping if you decide that you're ready to move on.
I call it a flip.
I mean, I call it a flip, but it's not really. I usually don't buy them and flip them for profit or anything. Right. It's more just refining the collection and moving stuff out that I don't wear and that isn't getting wrist time, and slowly just understanding what it is I like.
I'm just glad nobody's used the word curate during this entire life.
Curate.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, so I use the term flip, not in the sense that I'm like what Colin said, like you're flipping a house, you're buying a house, fixing it up, and then selling it for a profit. It's just it's almost like I use the term grail for a watch when I know I can potentially get that watch. It's technically not like the technical meaning of a grail of something that maybe is unattainable, that kind of stuff. So I use that term loosely. Sorry, Amin, I didn't mean to.
No, I was just going to say there's a few people in the chat saying that MJ is saying, I wish I could sell a watch, just can't bring myself to do it.
See, that's what I don't understand. Sorry to interrupt, but it's
not. Pete McConville also said he's looking at boxes but can't bring himself to sell watches. So I don't really get it either, Colin, but I'm just saying Penny's not alone. There are a couple other people here who can't part with their watches.
I mean, if it's just, I mean, I know some people with lots of watches and they never wear some of them, but they refuse to sell them. And it's like, I don't get I mean, sorry if I offend anyone, but like the hoarder mentality of just like, I have them and I got to keep them. I don't really understand that when you could sell it and, or sell a few of them and then just get that one that you've been obsessing about or something,
Have you regretted any sales?
Who, me?
Anybody?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have one that I think I regret. I bought a yellow dial SKX A35. Wore it for a week in Paris with my family, just as my one watch, and then got back, flipped it, and it's an SKX. It's like any other SKX except it's the yellow dial. But in that 1 week, I put a lot of memories into that watch. So when I look at
all those croissants you ate with that watch,
when I look at the pictures, I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I had still had that in the box. It was it would have only cost a couple $100 to keep it around.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that way about the Pelagos.
I wonder if it has to do with why you're into watches. Like the memory thing is at play for me too. Like with the Milgauss, even though it was heavy on the wrist, I went on a trip with that watch, and I remember it was such a grueling work trip, and it was like I was on a deadline. I was miserable on that trip. And the only thing I would do at night to kind of unwind was look at the Milgauss, like look at the lightning bolt hand and the funky GV glass. And it was a nice way to kind of relax. And so now when I think back at that trip and I met my deadline and I had all these, other experiences, I do remember the watch I wore during that time, because I would look at it all the time. I would look at it during breaks, and I'd zone out a little. So I think if watches are really tied to memories for you, it's not for everybody. I get that, but if they are and you operate that way, then it might be harder to sell, or you might not want to, or you might regret if you do sell certain watches. And for me, it's definitely that. I'm always looking at them and I connect them to a point in time and experiences that I was going through. For better or for worse. So I think that's part of why I get so focused. I wear them for long stretches of time. And I think that's why I get so focused on, no, I can't sell it. I mean, the IWC is my pandemic watch. I bought it literally a week before everything went to hell. And I think if I sell it, I'll be like, that was a marker of better days. I don't know. It may not make any sense. It's not logical, but that's how my mind, in particular relates to that. So it does kind of feel like, hey, is it a hoarder's mentality? It's certainly a very strong emotional gravitation maybe toward them. But other people can, they don't have that. You always have the memories. They're your memories. It's not the watch has the memories.
I don't tie objects to memories.
Yeah.
Like my Planet Ocean I've had for almost 10 years, and I can't think of anything except who gave it to me as, a memory of that watch. It's just I wore it all those years, It's I don't tie any specific events to it.
Would you sell that watch, the Planet Ocean?
No, that was my wife gave that to me.
Okay.
So that's my one sentimental watch. But I don't know. Maybe it'll change. I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Like, I think fragrances are the same. Like if you're into fragrances, even if you're not into fragrances, if you smell a certain scent, it could be apple pie, it could be spaghetti or whatever. I remember the fragrance I wore in college. If I smell that fragrance on someone else now, I remember those days just like that. So that's an object related to, memories and a point in time. Smell is kind of the other thing that'll take me back. Strangely enough, but I think the watches are starting to do that too.
So Design Atelier has got a more of an existential question. Which would you remember more, the memory or the watch that is attached to? So I think it could be both. It could be both.
I would definitely remember the memory, and the watch is a nice kind of supplement to that, or an accompaniment to that, or something like that.
With my Black Bag 58, I have a whole lot of things going on with that watch that I explain on my review. So that watch will always, the memory, it will always be attached to the watch, and the watch will always be attached to the memory.
Do you guys purposefully attach the memory to the watch though? Or does it just happen?
I don't think it's conscious for me. It's just like when that business trip, I was not thinking I'm going to connect with the Milgauss on this trip or remember this horrible time with that watch. But it just so happens that I did. And when I think back to that time, I remember deadlines and stuff. But I remember the Milgauss, which I sold. So I was able to let it go. Haven't bought it back. I do think about it. It haunts me a little bit in my soul. But I was able to let it go. I didn't consciously do that. It just is a part of that experience, I guess.
Yeah, you should buy a Milgauss. Make it 11.
Dude, no.
Do it.
No. You saw
Do it,
the
Penny.
roadmap, Colin. You saw the blueprint.
I'm just
11
teasing.
watches will throw everything in the
I'm
in the
teasing
universe
you.
out of
Then you do
balance.
12 and it's better. If you don't like
I
odd
know.
numbers, Penny. Just
Oh,
do 12,
Great number.
12 months in a
Just-
year.
just
Yeah.
the thought of 12 watches makes me shiver. Like,
Wait till you get till 10, then you'll be like, oh, 12 is not too far away.
oh my God. I mean, and that's another conversation maybe I don't think there's a perfect number, but everybody must have in
Good
their
point.
own minds something that they're comfortable with in terms of either price or number, that starts to feel uncomfortable.
So Penny, I hope this was therapeutic in some sense. It looks like you kind of already knew where you were going, what direction you were going before you got here. You had some time to think about it between the first time you reached out to me and tonight.
Yeah.
But I hope the group and the group on the chat, hopefully we reassured what you're feeling, and maybe we added some humor to it.
Absolutely. No, you're enabling me for sure. You're helping me out a lot. Feel better about the conclusion that I came to. I was feeling, that look, I just keep it. The other watches are probably not coming anytime soon. And if they do, you'll deal with it. And do
Listen,
it.
you can't be perfect on the road to what your end goal is. You're gonna have ups and downs. You're gonna have mistakes, and you never know. It might not be a mistake. Honestly, I think you're fine. Honestly,
Does your wife get to do 2 watches in a row now since you
she
jumped the line?
she honestly, I jumped the line again. So buying the trilogy, buying the IWC was jumping the line. It was technically her turn, and then I jumped the line again buying the trilogy. So she's content to wait for the Snoopy. If we get it, she's
wow.
Hey, that's the watch that I want next, and then we'll see. She likes a Cartier Roadster, I think, as well. So she's
nice.
sort of thinking
I
about
like
that.
those.
But yeah,
I like
cool.
those too.
I think if my significant other's watching, we are not going to go to the alternating watches.
that plan is hard. Yeah.
If my significant other is watching, you're welcome for the camo G-Shock digital camo titanium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, she's not watching.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's a detour from the roadmap. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a detour.
detours are fun.
It's a scenic exploration.
Yeah.
Well, Penny, stick around. We have unfinished business to talk about. It was briefly mentioned earlier in the stream. And before we get into that, if anybody needs a session on the couch, feel free to get in touch with any of us here.
The actual psychologist didn't really say too much.
Yeah. Well, Joe. So what is your professional opinion?
Start the clock.
I'm not a freaking psychologist.
Or whatever you are. What are you?
It's a psychiatrist.
I'm a psychiatrist. That means I can commit you.
Yeah.
Oh,
that means you can write you drugs.
I always get those mixed up.
And he doesn't do S for free.
Yeah, I get those mixed up. Okay.
All right.
No,
Sorry.
Well, I'll tell you. Welcome to one of my sessions. I typically just kind of sit back and let the client come to her own conclusions. And you just
send them the bill.
Yeah.
And then I'll chime in a little bit here, just going back to Penny. But if you take a look at the picture that you have right now with the Broad Arrow 57 and IWC, you got this gleaming, glossy, beautifully blue watch on an equally beautiful bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
You could take out on the town anytime there's a special occasion. On the other hand, you've got this beautiful faux vintage, strapped to a NATO, a Thule kind of thing. You kind of stumbled into like a perfect combo there unwittingly. So congratulations for doing this. Yeah.
Well, that's a good way of seeing it. Yeah, they definitely are going to be linked together, I think, in my mind. Like now they're doubly here. They're doubly stuck with me for that
Yeah.
ability to alternate them. Let's see.
Yeah. So to take ownership of how well you've done, and I will send you my bill. You're welcome.
I love it. This is great.
Joe
Yeah.
needs a new watch.
I just need a couch, next time. There won't be a next time for a while because you heard it here. I can't buy any watches anymore.
That's right. But I guess back to the situation at hand, right, Bobby?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So
not
All
to
right.
spoil anything that Amin is getting that's incoming to him.
Oh, I can
But-
spoil it. It's okay. We could put it out there.
Okay,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
But in getting something new, he was willing to sacrifice something that I sort of, in my own little way, consider the group watch. Not that I consulted anyone about forming a consensus about this, but Amin had this GP, the WWTC, that the story of him coming about finding it was he did a Bill Sanders collection review, and in soliciting advice from the viewers, it was Marcus specifically who recommended this watch.
Of course,
and this was the little kernel, or the little seed that eventually kind of sprouted into what I consider sprouted into this group. And so I have very fond I have feelings for this watch, and I'm also from New York, like Amin. Probably grew up not too far away from him. So this was, to me, this is a great watch, and I love that Amin has it. But because he was thinking of getting rid of it, I over the weekend, I just I never would have expected to have something. It's not something I would consider my style, but as he was talking about trying to offload it in order to make room for the new one, I just kind of told him, hey, I'd love to have it. And that's it. And so Amin is very, very gracious, and I'm sure he asked for a lot less than he should get for it. But neither of us are good negotiators, so I was just like, you tell me a price. He's like, I'm thinking this, and I was like, okay, let's finish it. And we're the two worst negotiators.
Selling to Joe, I was like, but I haven't, I haven't checked if it, I can throw it on the time grapher. He's like, I don't care. I was like, I should at least show you some pictures. There's, a couple things I should tell you about. He's like, I don't care. Like it was.
So what we've learned is not only does Joe attach memories to his watches, but he attaches them to other people's watches.
I actually did have similar feelings about this watch that Marcus recommended it. Actually, Joe recommended the strap company that I ended up using for the watch. Someone else from Horology Talk gave me a recommendation on the color of the strap. I did spend some time tracking this particular reference down, so I'm really happy it's going to Joe, and that I'll still see it in a friend's collection.
So if I could jump in,
this
may be a new interpretation of the group watch.
So we all just
so when Joe, when you're done with it, you can sell it to either Colin or I or Marcus. Well,
Hold on,
Marcus is the one that suggested it.
I already have one of Joe's watches.
Okay, so I gotta buy one of Marcus's
I hope Joe
watches?
likes it enough to keep it.
Oh yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's a keeper.
So you got to buy the Chrono Blue from Marcus.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
When I'm ready to sell it. I'm not ready yet, guys.
So Penny, this came from you told me that I needed to get the Batman, and I decided to go a different route, but still scratch the Rolex itch. And so I wanted to get a Rolex with some travel time capability.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up consulting with these guys and going for an Explorer 2.
Which one?
So can I throw up the screen?
Which one? Let's see. Yeah.
So I was consulting again with these guys which of these two to go for. I wanted to go for one of these two, and I probably had a good shot at getting one of these new at an AD within some amount of time. and not as hard as like getting a Batman or a Batgirl or a Pepsi. I think still probably not as hard. Or buying it pre-owned at not a little bit higher price than this one, but I bounced it off of these guys. Actually, I think all of you like the newer one better. Yeah.
So Amin didn't listen to any of us.
Yeah.
No,
But,
I like
know
the
my
older.
vote doesn't count really, but
Yeah.
I like the 16570. I mean,
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
So
it's
I
so
decided
cool.
I like the proportions better on the old one personally.
Honestly,
And-
they're both awesome. So
Yeah, they're both awesome. For me, I like the font better on the bezel for the old one. It's kind of like I don't know, it's just a classic font, and I like the proportions on the dial and the ratio of the bezel to the dial. But I could see arguments for either one. But anyway, I went with David SW, got myself the older one in really nice shape. So that'll be here tomorrow.
Awesome.
And Joe's will get the GP on Tuesday, unless the USPS is slow. So yeah, I'm already.
My wife throws it back in the mailbox for college.
what's that?
Yeah.
Oh
the new
yeah.
one,
Oh my god.
Okay.
the new one is an upgrade in many respects, but
It's a
it's
whole
just
other story.
comes down to which one you like. And so yeah, I spent the day strap shopping because I'm not really a bracelet guy, so
Nice.
I'm in the strap and rubber hunt.
It's not a NATO though, as long as it's not a NATO.
He's already got NATO's lined up.
Oh yeah,
for it.
he does.
I got a bunch of things lined up. I may give the bracelet a chance. The bracelet looks like it has no stretch. It's got solid end links. I might let it ride a little bit.
Yeah. And it's a brush finish too, so it's not gonna get all messed up.
I think the this one I don't know. It also seemed like, even though this one is one of the more less expensive ones, the prices are going up pretty quickly. So I felt like if I was gonna do it this year versus next year, it seemed like next year was not going to be better than this year for doing this.
Nope.
These are going to outstrip inflation really quick.
Well, and I'm wearing my 16570 next, so like I have it. I have it here. I'm wearing it next week. This bracelet is really light. You know, it kind of, you'll see if you like it yourself. It's not cheap, but it's a light bracelet.
I already know it. Is yours has solid end links too?
Yeah, it's solid end links. It's the polar dial.
Yeah, I had the exact same bracelet on my Pepsi when I had the Pepsi, and I actually prefer it to the current sub bracelet, or at least the 6-digit that I had, because it feels solid enough and it's light, and I don't really need on the fly micro adjustments. I just don't use them.
It's a really cool watch. It's a really cool
I dig as far as bracelets go, I do like the bracelet.
I think like a black rubber B with like the red stripe in the middle.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I kind of wanted like a military green, olive drab green rubber on this watch. I saw some pictures of olive drab green NATOs on this watch, and I thought they look cool. But nobody makes one. Nobody makes a good rubber in olive drab for this.
Paddock.
It doesn't fit, unfortunately. There's a company called, I forget what they're called. There's a Horus, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're thinking Horus. It's got like a
Horus, but it's silicone and
it's camo.
And there's some reviews that are not
Horus. There's Everest. There's Zealand.
Everest,
I think is another one.
Everest does a bright green.
Have you checked that Zealand company?
Zealand does a green. It doesn't look like exactly the right green. It's they call it emerald green.
Okay.
That's not going to be the right green. Definitely not.
Yeah, I think it's more like of a Hulk. Most of the ones who do greens that could go with the Hulk.
Could look cool on like a drab canvas strap. Kind of distressed. Actually, your trilogy would look kind of cool like that too.
Yeah. Hey guys,
Yeah.
before the stream ends, I have to just get an update. What is happening with this group watch? You're driving me crazy here. You can't agree? And I think
Show
what I
the
thought you were saying was that you were gonna go for the GP that Amin just sold. That Amin just sold. You were all gonna get one of the 100 of those. And
Yeah.
no,
Which
now
one?
you just want to share that
No,
one.
no,
The
no.
one you
That was never a
sold to
possibility.
Joe. That's not a possibility. You don't want G-Shock. You can't agree on the same G-Shocks. You
We-
need to be on my therapy couch.
We don't.
As
We
a
don't
group.
all. We
What's
find it
this
very
group
hard.
watch?
We find it hard to like the same watch and to have money ready to go at the same time. That's pretty
Yeah.
much.
show the diagram of
I think we came pretty close to the Black Bay 58, but then I kind of
Yeah.
backed out. That was the closest
You're-
thing we came to.
Yeah.
I have this group of college friends, and we always go every few years. We go on a big trip, and it takes a few years for us to figure out what the location's going to be because we always sort of fight over. No, I've been there already, or I don't want to go there. So it sounds like that's what you're going through, but I have faith that you can find a group watch that everybody agrees on and likes.
It is
So-
very hard to find a watch that 5 people all like,
Yeah.
honestly. And not only that, but in the price range. Oh, that's not
It's
working
not-
at all.
Yeah, it's not working at all.
Not working. All right. Kick me off Zoom before I look more foolish. So,
We got a couple suggestions for Squale.
yeah.
No. I think the short list is Endurance Pro, Anordain.
Black Bay 58.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
And
Bobby
some
already
sort-
has one.
I still think we got to go lower price.
and some sort of
Yeah,
Zen.
we have to go lower. We have to go lower.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish if you guys would tell me, there's a Black Bay 58 I can buy right now.
No. I think we go sub 1K on the group watch, unless we just all fall in love with something that comes up. And we're
Then
also
at that 1K, then we're talking about like a Marine Master 200 that we all like.
Yeah.
Penny. We're also
Or
thinking
different.
the group
yeah.
watch is 2 years off. That's our estimate.
Oh, okay. What about a Hamilton though? They've got a lot in that price range. Do you hate Hamilton? Nice field watches.
I don't hate Hamilton.
Yeah, I don't hate Hamilton.
I don't have.
I'm only okay with that if they're all Venturas.
Oh,
Oh,
The thing is, we want it to be something a little bit different too, right? Because it's like
Right.
if it's a group watch, it should be something that's kind of unique.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely nothing John Mayer. No, no.
Yeah.
I don't want any John Mayer.
I said the other day we should all get Space Views, but I don't think everyone was on board.
I like that. That was a good idea.
Accutron Space View.
I like that. If the new one was less expensive, I would be about
The
that.
new one's pretty cool. I was watching a video about that today. It was
Yeah.
it's really cool. But yeah, it's like $3,000 or something.
Oh, it's more. It's
Is
like
it?
3,500 or 4. So it depends which one you get.
Ugh.
Yeah. I think Kevin's saying Anordain's 1,300. I thought it was more, but if that's what it is, that's a pretty good option. If we get a
Mhm.
plan for 1 or 2 years from now, we get a special color Anordain custom
Yeah.
where it's not a stock
12
color.
1,200 euros, I think.
For if we
For
can
the-
get it
For the
for-
Fume, right? And it was like just under €1,000 for the Model 1, was it? Is that the name? Is
No,
that
the Model 1 is more. The Model 2
Oh.
is less,
Yeah.
but it's like a tiny little watch.
Gotcha.
Kevin is suggesting the Oris Diver 65 or Pointer Date.
I
There's a lot
brought
of
that
Pointer
up
Dates to
before.
choose from.
I brought that up before.
I'm a
I'd be
fan.
up for that.
I like both of those.
Mhm.
There you go. Put it on your list. See, you're
Diver
closer.
65 is nice.
Put it in your
I like that.
diagram. Put that one in your diagram.
Doxa. Ooh.
Docs is good.
Docs is a great idea.
Docs is
guys.
interesting. Docs
Docs is a great idea.
I wish we could get a custom color Doxa.
I love watching Joe's reactions whenever we bring up these watches. Because he just like kind of like quietly just like,
Dies inside.
yeah, you can see him just like, oh no, I'm too nice to tell these guys to pound salt.
Wow. You really
I
do
love
have
it.
a lot of different tastes here. That's hard.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're just over an hour. I think we said it all. I think we said it all tonight.
Yes.
Penny, let us know. Are you? Do you have any Instagram or YouTube? Possibly.
Well, we are on Instagram at ALLinHerMovements, and then my wife and I decided to start recording our conversations on YouTube. So we have these watch
Oh.
chats. We have 2 videos up, and I'm kind of moving the gaming stuff off of it. So it used to be a sort of a neglected gaming channel. So Yeah, we have two videos up of us just talking about watches, and we'll see if we can do more. Pretty low key. We're not editing them, so that's keeping us committed.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Joe,
it's already up. All in her movements.
Awesome.
excellent. And so make sure you guys sub. Joe, anything?
No, I'm not.
Watch what JC do.
I
on
just have
Instagram?
I just have one Instagram account, unlike some of us.
That's
Yeah,
interesting. Is there anybody else who has more than one Instagram?
Colin
Is that-
had two.
No, Cornwallis Beaumont Esquire has one for sure.
Yeah.
I only have the one though.
Yeah. Yeah. Colin's the only one with two.
I do not have two. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Colin, can you tell us about your 3 social media
Yeah,
outlets?
so Winding Watches on Instagram. Follow me. I do have a YouTube channel that is pretty neglected, and I'm on the Facebook.
Okay,
go.
wait to get. Colin has promised before the stream started us that he would get 2 videos out this week, so be on the lookout for those.
Yeah.
Amin, you can catch Amin at Amin Reviews on YouTube and Amin Reviews Official. Amin, any videos coming out soon in the works?
Not this week. We'll hopefully get the Wednesday night thing going.
Yeah, of
and
course.
then I might do a first impressions or review look at the Breitling. I don't know. There's a lot of Endurance Pro reviews already on YouTube, so I'm kind of like maybe it's not worth
Well,
it.
you got the Explorer coming. You got
Explorer. Yeah, I haven't reviewed some of my other watches. I've never reviewed the Moser or
really
couple others. Yeah. So
Hey, maybe a live unboxing of the Explorer. That'd be kind of fun. You did such a great live review of the of whatever that watch was that I also did a review on recently.
the Sperm Watch,
The
whatever that
Sperm
was.
Watch.
Yeah.
No,
I might do a live review of something. We'll see.
Yeah.
Those are kind of hard to juggle. It's hard to the autofocus doesn't work as well when you're live. I don't know.
Right.
We'll see.
and if you guys haven't had the chance, Amin recently did a stream with another member of Horology Talk, and it was a really great stream. If you can catch it, please do.
Thank you.
It talks about the it's in the same genre of the insanity of collecting, right? In a way, right?
Yeah.
But please take a look at that. And speaking of YouTube stars, we have Beaumont, Cornwallis Beaumont, who appeared on his alter ego. Marcus appeared on Tim Masso stream. What was it, like a week or so ago, right?
Yeah,
it was
exactly
great.
a week ago.
Yeah, about a week ago. Collector's kind of a review discussion. Marcus, anything else anything other secret interviews you're going to be doing lately?
No, I
Yeah.
don't. I'm in a buying freeze right now, but both watches and pens, so things are getting pretty boring for winter, unfortunately.
Well, we'll see about that. We'll see. I have a feeling
he's been good.
He's
He
been
hasn't
that's
done
true.
much. I mean, other than pens, but
Yeah.
he's
As
been
long
good
as it
with
has
watches.
several layers of Urushi, Marcus is always
Mhm.
interested. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank
Thanks,
you, Penny,
Penny.
for reaching
Yes,
out
Penny.
Thank
and
you,
putting yourself
everyone.
out
It
there.
was fun.
I'm at
And,
peace on my horological journey. Thank you. Doc.
And have a good night, everybody. See you
Good
next
job,
time.
Joe.
Good night.